Well, let's compare these two photographs. Wait. It's misaligned. Ever so slightly, I think. It certainly looks like it. Even when they're side by side, I fail to see any differences between these photos. I get that there is something. There must be. My eyes are going blurry. It's natural to question whether or not anything was stolen after the victim died. We at Scotland Yard investigated that possibility thoroughly. Then these two photos have been examined already. Of course, my lord. After we meticulously counted the items pictured in each photo, we came to the conclusion that they are exactly the same. I see. As you can see, absolutely nothing was stolen from Hatch's pawnbrokers. This Japanese boy's claim is nothing more than a false accusation. No! Not again! No, I was so close. If only I could prove that he stole one of McGundle's pledges. I could have caught him red-handed. Hey, Ryu. I was just wondering about these two photos. Do you think they're really identical? Nope. Uh-huh. Very well, defense. The court wishes to confirm the following. On the night of the crime, nothing was stolen from the crime scene. Do you acknowledge this as truth? Do I? I should look at these photos again. Is there really nothing odd about them? Use evidence. Before I answer, I'd like to test something. What are we testing? For this test, I'll need to use a certain piece of evidence. I'm afraid I don't see where this is going. You will. What other evidence will reveal a difference between these two photos? There's a reason why we got a stereoscope. I'd like to use this. Let's look at these photos stereoscopically. Oh ho ho! You finally opened your eyes to the truth. You've come to see the stereoscopic future of stereoscopes. Of course he's excited. Go for it, Ryu. Let's use this baby and look at these two pictures one more time. Here we go. Will it actually... Oh. There was something. I had a feeling all along. There's clearly something odd about these two pictures. What? Defense, the court orders you to point out this oddity. Point out the abnormality in these photos. There you go. Ah. I will acknowledge that these photos look nearly identical. But there is just one part that's different. What? Oh yeah, it's moved. If you look at these pictures stereoscopically... Yeah, it moved ever so slightly. The small box almost appears to jump out from the pictures. I don't believe it. You're right, it's jumping right out at me. There's only one logical conclusion. That night, McGundle's box was not stolen. Instead, it was opened. Someone did pick up this box before trying to put it back where he found it. Then this is it, isn't it? This is the small box deposited by McGundle. Balderdash, what is this supposed to change? Everything. It wasn't stolen, it was just moved? The circumstances of the crime still haven't changed at all. I don't know, but... he's right, McGundle's box wasn't stolen. It was just moved a bit. Does that mean the situation hasn't changed? Changes everything. It's what I said. Don't you think this changes the circumstances of the crime completely? What do you mean? The issue here is what was moved. A small box. That must mean something was inside, right? What? We need to examine the small box pictured here right away. It should still be on the shelf in Hatch's shop. There's no point. The owner of this box has been dead for 2 months. What does it have to do with us? Objection overruled, Lord Van Zeeks. Bailiff, head to the crime scene at once. Retrieve the box in question and examine the contents. It's empty! Hot damn, this is getting interesting. My god. Well, we're currently sitting at 3 hours and 10 minutes. I expect a report within 30 minutes. Perhaps this would be a good time for a recess. I can't believe the Crown Court is being dragged about for such a pointless display. What was that? This is just more Japanese smoke and mirrors. They adore this foolishness. Why do you say that? This college boy had jumped to a ridiculous conclusion from the very start. He thinks our witness was trying to steal McGundle's pledges. But if you had any common sense, you would realise that none of it was worth stealing. Exactly. It's absurd to even imagine that I would attempt a robbery. As you all know, McGundle was killed immediately after his trial. But he was declared not guilty. It was proven without a shadow of a doubt. The great Cosney McGundle was an upstanding Londoner who wouldn't hurt a fly. You proved it yourself, college boy. He was an upstanding citizen who deposited some average pledges. A black coat with a disc in the pocket and a small box. Honestly, you couldn't pay me to take those off your hands. There's something very important about both of them. The important thing about the coat, you know he's right. Mr. McGundle was rich, so I can understand if it was jewels or a wad of cash. Don't be daft, you can't pawn a wad of cash. No, there's something very important about both items, I think. With the coat, it was the disc. With the box, it was something else. Indeed, the prosecution raises a good point. The defense must show adequate proof. Prove the significance of the items pledged by your upstanding former client. Your thoughts, defense? Do you have anything to present? What is your basis behind your claim that these items are related to the case at hand? What's wrong, Ryu? Isn't it kinda obvious that both of those are super important pieces of evidence? Of course it's obvious. Oh, it's obvious to you and me. We know the truth about both McGundle and his disc. But if I tell the truth right now, that means telling everyone the truth of the acquittal I won for McGundle. It'll prove that it was an incorrect verdict made possible by forged evidence. Oh. And we'd also be telling everyone that Gina committed perjury. She was threatened, though. Oh no. I don't want to imagine this, but... Does Prosecutor Van Zeeks know? Is that why he's doing this? But... this might actually be a good opportunity. Huh? Why? Or why, Iris? Come on, you say it all the time. The truth will always come to light. True. What is the deeper meaning behind McGundle's pledges? The only one who can tell us is Gina. But if I ask her to testify, she could inadvertently put us at a major disadvantage. Should I have Gina testify? Yep. It's the only option. My lord, I would like to make a proposal. And what would that be, defense? While McGundle's box is being transported to the Crown Court, I would like to hear the defendant testify. Let's bring Gina Lestrade to the stand. The defendant? But for what purpose? I want to know more about the items Mr. McGundle pledged to Hatch's pawnbrokers. Gina Lestrade knows something more about the circumstances surrounding them. If she testifies, I'm sure that everyone will understand just how important these pieces of evidence really are. Oh? How very fascinating. I hope you haven't forgotten. know what your client's testimony means for the both of you. I know. Lord Van Zieks, could you explain your statement? The prosecution consents to the defence's request. Put the current cross-examination on hold and demand testimony from the accused. Very well then, I shall. Now the court requests the defendant's testimony. The current witnesses should retire to the lobby and await further instruction. Then if you'll excuse me. Hold it, witness. Remain at the stand. You are to listen to the defendant's testimony. Understood. It's just those two. Gina's going to testify now. Please, you have to trust me here, Gina. Ryu? Okay. Don't be pissy with me, please. The items that McGundle pledged to Hatch's pawnbrokers are deeply connected to that case from 2 months ago. I do believe this girl stood as a witness during that trial, yes? She did. Her testimony established Mr. McGundle's innocence. What an interesting turn of events. Everyone connected to that case is once again gathered here now. Perhaps this is what we call fate, Japanese boy. Two months ago, a bricklayer was stabbed to death inside an omnibus in the dead of winter. The only one inside the coach alongside the victim was Mr. McGundle. Naturally, Mr. McGundle was fingered as the prime suspect, but as the trial progressed, a new possibility emerged. It was possible that the murder had actually occurred on the roof, and that the victim's lifeless body had been dropped through the skylight. Gina Lestrad's testimony brought that possibility to light. At that time, Gina was hiding in the omnibus. She hoped to steal from the coach's passengers. And so, Mr. McGundle was declared not guilty. But immediately after the trial, he mysteriously died inside the Crown Court. 2 months have passed, but neither case has reached a conclusion. Neither the omnibus murder nor the arson. However, the defendant's pledges weren't mentioned at that trial, I believe. Gina? Will you tell us the truth? Now's the time to speak out. Tell us what really happened during that crime 2 months ago. I wouldn't have a clue. I mean, like, I've said all I know. You told us the real truth yesterday at the jail, didn't you? Please, I beg of you. This is really important. But if, during your testimony 2 months ago, you happen to purposely hide the truth from this court, naturally, you'll be tried for perjury. On top of that, your reliability as a witness will be called into question. Though I must say, I have to wonder if you were ever to be considered reliable in the first place. Gene Bean, please, you gotta trust Ryu. Iris? We're on your side, Gene Bean. She's so tidy. Alright then. I'll talk. Gina. I suppose the defense has found the resolve to crush his own reputation. I have to say, I don't think I quite understand what is happening here. But it appears there's some sort of secret being kept here. And that secret involves Mr. McGundle's pledges in the incident 2 months ago. Go on, witness. The court orders you to testify. Testify about the truth you have yet to reveal. Everything's going to come to light, here in this Crown Court. Prosecutor Van Zieks is right. The only way forward is to steal my resolve as an attorney. Oh boy. The truth of 2 months ago. Truth is, the victim was in the omnibus too. When I was pulled out of my seat, I saw that disc on the floor. Then I heard a scream from above. That's when the other two passengers ran for the police. McGundle handed the coachman some money and sent him to the nearby pawn shop. He threatened me, I had to keep quiet about what I had seen and heard. What in blazes is going on with her testimony? It's completely different from her testimony 2 months ago, is it not? Indeed it is, my lord. It almost seems as if the verdict handed down to Mr. McGundle was a complete mistake. Furthermore, it seems as if Mr. McGundle himself was scheming to deceive the court. I can only imagine there was a very sinister plot working in the shadows. It's undeniable that there was foul play afoot in that trial, at the trial 2 months ago. An unforgivable deed committed by the defendant, the witness, and even the defense. Wait, what? Good heavens! That whole trial was nothing but lies and forged testimony. But Mr. McGundle, the witness, and even that Japanese attorney, they were all in cahoots. No, you're all wrong. Naruhodo, I mean, that attorney bloke didn't know. You're not fooling anyone. He didn't know? That's hardly reliable testimony. How horrifying. He achieved an acquittal with the devilish lies. This evil cannot be left to fester. Go, punish them all. I will acknowledge that we committed a grave crime. One not easily forgotten. I am prepared to accept any punishment that awaits me. However, this testimony makes the truth clear. The items that Mr. McGundle left behind are of profound significance. Very well, exchange student. If you're so passionate about the truth, the least we can do is listen. These are indeed regrettable circumstances. Mr. Naruhodo, my lord, a suitable punishment will be formulated after this trial has ended. Understood. Naruhodo, it's fine. Now begin your cross-examination. This is the final case, so it's not like we'll have many things to do after this. There is the second game, but I can't play that until it's translated. The truth of 2 months ago. Truth is, the victim was in the omnibus too. You were hiding inside the omnibus at that point, right? As I recall, you were inside the seat trunk. Yeah, but it was pitch black, so I couldn't see nothing. 2 months ago, you testified that the only passenger inside the coach was Mr. McGundle, yes? In other words, she told us all bald-faced lies. Bloomin' McGundle made me say that. It's okay, Gina, just tell the truth now. Were McGundle and the victim acquainted? Not a clue. But they were kinda yammering at each other the whole time. What were they talking about? I couldn't hear them all too proper, but it sort of sounded like business. They were talking about buying something. It sounds like they were making some sort of deal. They got louder and louder, till it sounded like they were starting a right aggressive row. It shook me so much I could hardly breathe, but then, all of a sudden, there was a real loud noise. It sounded like someone had fell. That was when you screamed, correct? Yeah. And then, that bugger McGundle found me. When I was pulled out of my seat, I saw that disc on the floor. About the disc you saw, did it look like this? Yeah, that's probably it. It was on the floor right next to that guy. I wonder if that disc actually belonged to the victim. McGundle swiped it right up and shoved it in his coat. Wait, what are they doing? Oh. Why would nobody point this out? And then he made me sit up in the seat opposite from him. What did McGundle say to you? I was told to keep my lid zipped and talk about nothing else I had seen or heard there. That included the disc. His eyes terrified me. If I didn't say yes, I was sure that he'd stab me too. And then he started asking me all sorts of stuff about myself. My name, where I live, about my life as a pickpocket too. And eventually, the murder scene was discovered. Yeah, I heard a clatter from above. Right, I'm just gonna go back to the previous statement, and then question those two. They are talking about something. I don't need to do this. There we go, move. Pardon me, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Kroger. Inspector Gregson, Mr. Kroger. What? Why did you do that? You seem to be whispering something for a moment there. May I ask what you were discussing? Discussing? Don't be ridiculous. I have nothing to say to such a suspicious man. I must agree, I have nothing to say to an inspector who seized my rightful property. Those two have been talking since the beginning of my cross-examination. It's almost as if they've been negotiating about something. Witnesses, you're in the Crown Court. Cease your whispering. My sincerest apologies, my lord. They're definitely discussing something fishy. Now, witness, continue your testimony. Right, so now just press all the others. Oh, they've stopped. Then I heard a scream from above. That's when the other two passengers ran for the police. God, I'm so glad I've got Pepsi Cherry on hand, because, God, my throat would be in tatters otherwise. There were two passengers on the roof seats. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember his name. Ladyfinger? No. Lady first. And, can't remember his name. Oscar Fairplay. Boo-hoo-hoo. I can't remember his name, though. Adam? No, I don't remember. That lot screamed when they saw the body through the skylight. The coachman stopped the coach straight away and McGundle made me hide. It's Oscar Fairplay, and something Lady first. He made you hide? Yeah, he shoved me right back into the trunk. When the omnibus stopped, the two lot on the roof ran off to call the police. That proves that those two passengers truly weren't connected to the murder. So the only ones left at the scene were you, McGundle, and the coachman. Yeah, but I was hiding in the trunk. Since someone left the coach door open, I could hear him talking outside. If I remember right, the coachman testified in McGundle's trial as well. Another flashback? Beppo! I think his name was Mr. Beppo. I can't remember that. What were they talking about? I heard one of them say something like, I have no idea what happened. McGundle handed the coachman some money and sent him to the nearby pawn shop. That pawn shop would be none other than Hatch's pawnbrokers, right? Hold on. Then, no, you must be saying the coachman was lying as well? At the very least, the pawn shop was not brought up in that trial. My word. He took off his black coat and gave it to the coachman. It was a well-wicked looking coat. He patted it down proper hard before handing it over. When I saw that, it was all clear. The stuff he was popping was worth a heck of a lot of dosh. That would explain why Gina was trying to sell the disc for such a high price. I remember she was arguing with Hatch over its value on the day of the crime. With McGundle's wad of cash in hand, the coachman was happy to go to the pawn shop. Then McGundle hollered me over, told me to go outside the omnibus. He threatened me. I had to keep quiet about what I had seen or heard. He threatened you? He told me that if I did what I was told, I'd be free to go off home. Did he tell you to commit perjury, you little thief? That and one more thing. He had another order for me. And that would be... He told me to take the pledge ticket from the coachman and keep it safe. The pledge ticket? And then, if he didn't come back to redeem it in 2 months, I was to go to the pawn shop and pay off the interest, expending the redemption period. He gave me the dosh just for that. I don't quite understand. Why would Mr. McGundle do such a thing? Why would he need to deposit his coat before the arrival of the police? I can only think of one reason. McGundle didn't want those items to be seen by the police. They were very important items that he had no choice but to hide. After all that, he let me leave the crime scene. That's everything. That's enough. The court desires no further testimony. The truth of this case has become startlingly clear. 2 months ago, a certain deal was taking place inside that omnibus. They were negotiating the price of this disc, but it seems negotiations failed. Outraged by the price of the disc, McGundle chose to steal it by force. And why not add murder to the laundry list of other crimes he had already committed? But that just shows how significant this disc really is. I hope they don't ask me why it's so important, though. 2 months pass, then 2 days before this crime, McGundle's pledges would reach the deadline for their redemption period. I had no idea what I was meant to be doing with that ticket thingy. I mean, I knew he'd kicked the bucket after that trial and all. Much like the pickpocket you are, you moved to take his pledges for yourself. Well, they were just gonna get flogged off. What's the harm in me taking them? You can't blame a girl for wanting a dapper coat, can you? Cosney McGundle murdered a man just to get his hands on this disc. Would you happen to know why, miss? Like I'd have a clue. It's just... It had to be worth a fortune, so if I took it, maybe I could flog it off for a good sum. You can't blame a girl for wanting to make some quick moolah, can you? My lord. Ah, the bailiff has just returned from the crime scene with new evidence. Oh. Bloody hell. What the hell is happening? So we're at 3.5 hours. McGundle placed that mysterious box 2 months ago. It has to be the key to solving this mystery. To be continued. Oh my god. No! No! I don't care. This last section might take ages, who knows. It might only be 2 hours, who knows. Save! I'm enjoying this though. Hell yeah. I've done this with every Ace Attorney game, I think. When it came to the final trial, I've just done it in like as few sessions as possible. Yeah, it's very addictive. What the? Okay. We're gonna open it on up. So, this is the small box placed by Mr. McGundle 2 months ago. Think back to the night of the crime. This was the only box that the intruder took with him. Come on, hurry up and open it. Huh? What? No, this is obviously no simple box. I thought it was a music box that would play the music disc. I had a feeling that was the case. It appears to be a portable music box. Oh, it is. Oh. A music box. Then, could this be? It was most likely made for this particular disc. It was made specifically for Mr. McGundle's disc then. To be accurate, that disc was not McGundle's. It's the disc that he stole from the victim after murdering him in cold blood. But for what reason would a poor bricklayer try to sell a music box disc? I believe all will be clear once we listen to the music carved into the disc. Very well. Let us listen to the disc using this music box. Who's this? Inspector. Please, my lord, you can't. Why not, witness? This music box has nothing to do with the trial. I just don't believe there is any need to, listen to the music in our dignified Crown Court. That's so suspicious. This disc was so important that Martin was murdered for it. There is more than enough evidence that it may be relevant to this trial. The prosecution has no objections. But we at the Yard already decided that this piece of evidence shouldn't. I'm sure Scotland Yard has plenty of misguided opinions on the matter. But the prosecution came to court ready to examine every bit of evidence exhaustively. It's out of your control now. Now then, let the music play. To McGundle. That disc is tiny. That ain't music. Is that like code? It's a message. What in blazes? I say, this noise doesn't sound like any music I've ever heard. He's right. It's a message. It's just the same note playing repeatedly in an unnatural rhythm. He understands it. Witness? Oh, this is wonderful. It seems